3, 4.
We are Movie Menu Reviews, your weekly podcast. On today's menu, we'll be doing a double feature review of Us and Dumbo. Welcome, ladies and gents. I'm Dan the Man Muñoz, host of Movie Menu Reviews, your weekly movie news and reviews podcast, live on Facebook.
Yeah, we are.
Joined by special guests, Manuel, Montanez.
Hey.
Welcome.
Director, filmmaker, writer of
Thank
Awkward Silence and other great films like Culture.
Thank you.
Welcome. Glad you are here, Manny.
Oh, glad to be here. Thank you for having me back.
Thank you so much. Also here, who I guess we're happy is here.
Thank you.
Oh,
I guess.
Funny enough, I was going to talk to Mike Stay.
Hey, I guess I'm happy I'm here too.
Also here is our co-host and senior panelist and recently engaged.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Z! Congratulations.
Thank you.
Getting engaged.
This is your bachelor party, just so you know.
Oh, well, I mean, we have the right people to make this thing awkward. So
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
It's very, very true. If Mike's here, anything's going to be awkward.
that's absolutely true.
Awkward silence.
Yeah, when
Awkward
Maddie's here,
silence.
there'll be
Hashtag
the
awkward
silence.
silence.
Yes.
So let's go ahead and talk first some movie news. We got quite a bit of them to discuss.
Yes.
First thing up, there was a new trailer for Toy Story 4.
Yes.
This is like the second trailer, or the first official trailer. What do you guys think about them going into the fourth film?
I mean, going back to the well is a really difficult thing to do, right? Like, they're going back to what they know how to do best, and
Make us cry?
make us cry. And I think that's kind of what I was joking around earlier when we were looking at the trailer. Disney runs off the tears of children, and I do really believe that.
And killing off parents.
Because honestly, like I see this movie now, because we got the teasers previously, but now I see this movie as like a journey into imagination and what actually constitutes a toy. And I'm really excited about that because there can be so much tears you can channel out of children to fuel your power hungry machine, Disney.
There's also like an existential existence in this movie with Forky.
Yeah.
Where it's like, who created him? How did he become a created toy?
Yeah.
And what does that entail?
What sparks life into inanimate objects?
Does that mean like Bonnie is his god, or like,
or
his
we
mother,
or all children are inspirations of life in some way? I think you can really write a really good thesis on this movie. I think yeah.
No, I'm saying it's kind of funny because he's self-aware of what he's supposed to be. Like, he doesn't see himself as a toy. I remember he was making that comment like, "No, I was made for salad. I was made for soup, and sometimes chili."
Yeah.
and then the trash.
Yeah.
So I'm a little worried about the film. I was really surprised that they announced that they were making a fourth one a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Because the third one is just perfection.
Yeah.
And
Now, do you feel like they're going to make more? Like, this is going to be a new venture into
if they make more
5 and 6?
I hope it's a Forky spinoff. I'm just kidding.
Straight to video? Or
Fork story.
Fork story.
Fork story.
No. I kind of hope this is it. If they want to reboot it in the future and use other toys, but I feel like this is Woody's and Buzz's story, and then it should end there. If they want to continue the franchise, do so straight to DVD.
I forget whether or not I had mentioned that. I think I previously mentioned that I think that this is like the foundation for the Toy Story cinematic universe. That I feel like there is going to be.
Oh, that's Pixar.
Yeah, no, but I really do feel like there are going to be like interconnections between the Inside Out universe and the Toy Story universe. Because the question becomes, what creates life, and if all life has feelings and all life has thoughts, then I think that this might be a very quick, easy line to connect these universes. That's my theory, anyways.
Interesting.
It's
theory.
a crackpot theory, I know, but I'm hopeful.
Speaking of crackpot theories, let's go into the next trailer review for Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Now, this movie is based on the popular book series. What did you guys think about the trailer that is being produced by Guillermo del Toro?
It looks super fun. I'm actually excited for this. It looks a lot scarier than I expected it to be.
Yeah.
Especially geared towards kids. Like it looks.
This is not Goosebumps.
No,
yes.
it's not.
Yeah.
No, it's not. Right. It's exactly what we wanted when we thought Goosebumps was going to be announced. This is the thing that scared all of us. People were traumatized by the cover of the. I remember I still have a distinct picture of
the cover of the book.
The covers of the books.
white.
Yeah. And so I think that I think that they're moving in the direction that we now are starting to get a clear picture of what horror should be versus what horror is. And we'll talk about Annabelle next, because I think that's what horror is. I think what it should be is this movie where it's like, it's not about jump scares, which of course gets Mike all the time. Mike, boo! Yeah, there you go.
I jumped before you even did it.
You know, every
They
time.
always get them.
And you know what? There's an audience for that, but I think scary story to tell in the dark, from what I remember reading as a kid, was a thing that made my skin crawl.
Yeah.
And I miss that in horror movies. I really do.
I remember that reading the books as a kid. They weren't kid books. They were meant for kids, but they were pretty dark.
They were
Like,
children
there
in
was-
the stories, but they
yeah.
were not meant for children. I remember reading something on BuzzFeed about like the woman whose head is tied on with a ribbon, and it's
yeah,
like she was a zombie the entire time. Like you're just your skin crawls.
Do you remember the story and scary story about the farmers, the two farmers and the scarecrow?
I think yeah.
And then you see it in the trailer. I got that was like my favorite story from Scary Stories.
Yeah.
And I see him in the trailer, like, oh my god.
They're bringing it to life, I'm hoping that they bring it to life in a way that really does. Again, it has children in it, but it makes us scared as adults, because I think that's what it did really well, and I think that's what they need to do with this movie.
Agreed. I am very looking forward to it, Mike.
Yeah, likewise.
Yeah, and this is Andre Overdahl. I might mispronounce that because he's
you nailed it.
Yeah, thank you. Director of Troll Hunter, and one of my
all-time fun movie,
all-time sleepers, the Autopsy of Jane Doe,
which also great,
which was such a super creepy low-budget film.
I agree. Yeah, both those films are very fun to watch. So if you haven't seen either of those, I
believe they're on Netflix. Honestly, if you really want something that's fun, Autopsy of Jane Doe, although the ending is predictable, you really do enjoy yourself while the movie's happening.
Yes. So it's basically,
go watch it. It's good.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next trailer. Is Lucy in the Sky, directed by Noah Hawley. You might know Noah Hawley from he created Fargo series on FX, and as well as Legion.
Yes.
And this is very much in the vein of that.
The now Marvel Legion.
What did you guys think about the film starring Natalie Portman, Dan Stevens, and John Hamm?
So I've heard this concept before about coming from other astronauts, where they talk about the experience of once you've gone in space and you come back, it's so difficult to recover from it.
Witnessing eternity.
Yeah, Just I've heard, and that's always been an interesting concept to me. Like it's almost the equivalent of like soldiers that go to war, like they can't come back to normalcy anymore. So it's super interesting to see that this film seems like it's covering that topic. I'm really interested, and it looks amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, visually it looks stunning, but I wouldn't expect anything less from Noah Hawley. Yeah. And the concept is something that's not really dealt with.
Do you guys feel like, because I didn't watch the Moon movie, the Neil Armstrong movie?
You're talking about the
one that Damien Chazelle directed.
That's the one. Yeah. Are you more excited about this movie than you are about that one?
Well, I was excited for that film, but yeah, I love Noah Hawley stuff on TV, so I'm actually looking forward to what he's going to do in this film.
I think this movie's it's just a completely different. It looks like a completely different style. It's totally grounded in the director's vision, and it's not I think Damien Chazelle's film was more
historical.
Yeah, it was more historical and seemed like it tried to be grounded in a type of reality. But I think Lucy in the Sky seems like it's going to be way more
avant-garde.
Yeah, more avant-garde. Yeah, and more based on Lucy's perspective.
Sorry, I'm just finishing. You said
it's okay.
So I mean, it's kind of like
you
more
complete me, man.
you
don't complete
Mike.
me. Yeah. You don't complete me, but you complete my sentences.
So I mean, in other words, words, you think it'd be more like a character study of like her experience and just astronauts in general.
Yes, and I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, and I think the one thing I do love about this director, I mean, he's a great writer too, but the thing that I like about his visual style is it's just all like practical effects. There's not a lot of CGI if he doesn't need to, and I'm really looking forward to what he can do with this story. And you got Natalie Portman at the helm, like she's got range, she can do a lot with it. It looks a little bit like a Sandra Bullock, like the gravity, like the extension of what Gravity was, and because of that, I'm excited about it. I am excited, as Mike was saying, what happens when you witness eternity? Do you come back to life and feel everything slow down? And I think that's an interesting narrative to go into.
It's a super tangent, but Natalie Portman is offering acting classes online now.
That is awesome.
I saw that.
Well, then, if
on
you
Facebook,
can,
right, or something?
No.
Oh, it's just online? Oh, I think I saw the ad on Facebook.
Is it
Masterclass?
It is.
Oh, okay, that makes
Masterclass.
sense. That makes sense. Yeah. Well,
okay.
They also had Kevin Spacey on there.
They, as you'd imagine,
I don't want to learn nothing from that guy.
As you'd imagine, that doesn't exist.
Yeah. In case
Something
go ahead.
Something that does exist is the third film in the Annabelle series. Annabelle Comes Home.
Dun, dun, dun.
But
one of
why?
the spin-off of the Conjuring series. But funny enough, we see the Warrens in this film as well.
You get a very brief.
I don't think it was brief.
You think it's going to be a full...
Yeah, because it looks like
it's in their home.
It involves the home, yeah.
Yeah. Well, can
So,
I just...
Patrick Wilson, Vera Farmiga, and McKenna Grace and Madison Eisenman.
Okay.
Who was, I think McKenna Grace is the one that was from The Haunting of Hill House.
Yes.
On the Netflix series.
Which I think is my biggest problem with this movie, is that you got an actor who did spectacularly in Haunting of Hill House with the story that was way more tangible and fun, and now you go back to Annabelle. Why would we want to go back to this? Why not do something different? There's a literally an entire room of spooky shit in there, and you're going back to the doll. Like, we're getting a remake of Chucky. Can we move away from the doll, please? Like,
no, I want Chucky and Annabelle to get together.
And they look alike. They
universe
look
right there.
Yeah, that's a shared universe. And but you know what I mean? Like, I kind of feel like because Haunting of Hill House did such an amazing job, if you've seen it, great, you know what I'm talking about, that you need to really ramp up what horror is. And right now, as I was talking about the scary stories, that's where it needs to go. It needs to go to real creep factor, not this silly jump scares. Hey, Mike, boom! There you go.
I think this Annabelle is I think it's a different type of horror, and I think there's enough space for both. I think Annabelle is like the perfect like popcorn.
But didn't you feel like the trailer looked just like La Llorona? Like it was the exact similar situation of a girl in a place of safety being spooked by something underneath her whatever.
I think this is going to be a fun
premise for all of them.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. That's horror sucks because of this reason.
No, I think it's going to be a fun popcorn film. It is what it is. It's the Fast and Furious of horror films.
Don't you dare sully the name of Fast and Furious. You can use Transformers, but you cannot use Fast and Furious.
I will commend them that the Annabelle second film had gotten better.
Annabelle Tokyo Drift.
That's not fair. That would be amazing.
I would watch that.
You know what? I'd watch that too. Just like the Annabelle doll in a race car. Yeah. That's not fair of me to say. It's not the Fast and Furious horror, but I think what I mean is that it definitely is like a popcorn horror film. And the last one, I thought it was going to be completely awful, and I enjoyed it way more than I expected.
Is it the same director or a different director?
It's a different director. Actually, this is his directorial debut.
There we go. Now we know what this movie's going to be.
But he's produced and written all the other films, so
I think
so. He's a part of it.
He's been a part of it.
I'm looking for. I think it's going to be fun. Yes, it's going to be like just a bunch of jump scares, but I think it'll be fun. But unfortunately, it may ultimately be forgettable as well. But I'm still going to go and enjoy it for what it is.
All right. There's always a possibility too, like you said, like you wanted to see more about the other artifacts and stuff that was in that room. Maybe this is it. This could be like
They do mention it in the trailer as well. They say the doll
is a beacon to the other.
So that kind of like opens up another universe, like an extension of it.
So I think you're gonna experience other spirits in that universe.
Yeah. And then La Llorona comes in.
Yeah, that's the only thing that bothers me is in the trailer it says like in the Conjuring universe. It's like super transparent.
Oh, we know exactly what they're
doing.
trying to do.
Yeah,
and
it's like
well, it's because they can no longer continue the Conjuring series
because they cannot continue it due to them being
the
stuck
legal,
in court. Yeah, it's still really ridiculous. I'm not looking forward to it, but
I am. I love horror movies, and yes, they have been stupid lately. No, actually, not lately. They've gotten better.
They've gotten better, but
so I'm hoping that they continues in that vein.
Like I said, it's a different type of horror film. There's different flavors of horror. Like when I think of like Hereditary, which is probably like the heaviest horror film in such a long time. Completely different type of horror film.
That's fair.
Amazing.
Not that good, but yes.
I think it was amazing, and I definitely recommend any horror fans to watch it.
I don't.
But I think Annabelle it's a different flavor. It's the popcorn movie flavor, which is okay too. I think movies, the theater is having enough room for all. But anyways,
yeah. Well, okay, that's a
opportunist.
That's a longer discussion of what horror is.
That's a rant.
That is a rant in itself.
Who is not an equal opportunist is the Disney and Fox merger.
Yes.
Wow. Z, do you want to go ahead and
so
talk
Disney
about that?
has finally acquired. Now, this might be old news, but at this point, why not talk about it? Disney has acquired Fox, and that means a whole lot of shakeups in the X-Men and Fantastic Four universe because that's who they own. Now, they don't have to. Nobody has to worry about losing a job for Fantastic Four because let's face it, that bombed. But we do have the X-Men universe.
They were all fired anyways.
They were all fired anyways. But we do have the X-Men universe that had several films on its docket, including one, Gambit, which was it's been in development now for I think 10 years. That's no longer going to get greenlit. Sorry, I'm going through puberty. No longer getting greenlit.
You're becoming a real boy.
I'm a real man. And you also have New Mutants, which is no longer going to get reshoots and more than likely going to be shelved into the Hulu universe. So you have people who are losing jobs, movies that are probably going to just end production entirely. According to sources, the X-Men Dark Phoenix saga will end the whole series entirely and be ready for a reboot.
Well, there was an interview with Macy Williams, who is part of the New Mutants. Yes. And she was saying that she has no idea what's going on with New Mutants.
Finished, yeah.
No,
they finished filming, but they don't know where it's at.
No. She said that they were supposed to come back for reshoots.
That's what I mean.
Reshoots never happened.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And now they don't even know if the reshoots are going to happen. Yep. And they don't know where the film is at this moment.
Yeah.
She was very candid in her interview.
She was talking about how they wanted to do reshoots to amplify the horror aspect, which, of course, we saw in the trailer. But they haven't gone back to do it. So that's
this is a film that we were supposed to review last April.
Yeah.
Last year, 2018.
Wow, has it been that long?
It's been that
and
long.
Dark Phoenix has been pushed back as well. So we're at the end of Fox owning Marvel, which I think all of us agree will make better movies. But what do you guys feel about all this?
I mean, it's this in general, the whole Fox merger, Disney merger. It's great for fans of the Marvel universe because the Marvel characters coming home. But it does suck that a lot of the employees over at Fox are being let go. There's thousands and thousands of jobs.
4,000, I believe. And
more. Probably, more. And that's not just to contribute the fact that these films who have been made in the process in between, that they're like in limbo at the moment, that those people have worked so hard. Though I believe they've gotten paid already, but there's other people who their hard work
which we knew was going to happen. I feel like everybody who was in that knew. It's the same thing with Sony was going down and they were cutting jobs. Like we knew that was going to happen, but it does seem like it was bound to happen as this merger took at least a year to complete. So I don't know. I'm excited to see where the road leads to next, but at the same time, it's like, that's a lot of property that's being just tossed away.
Now, do you think that even though Endgame is coming up, do you think they will have a post-credit scene introducing either Fantastic Four or the X-Men in some way?
I just want to see Wolverine walk out by the end of it, or he be the one to go after Thanos at the very last hit or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, if you're a fan of the comics, then you know that Wolverine is the weapon designed to kill gods. So Do they have the ability to introduce a whole different world behind the scenes of the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Absolutely. Do I want that to happen?
Or do you think when they bring the people back from the snap, that somehow creates the X gene?
It could. Yeah, it could. Yeah, I mean, we already have that evidence with Captain Marvel. We have that evidence with the Scarlet Witch. So why not? Like, let's go there.
So you think they'll get like the Silver Surfer from the Fox, going with like Scarlet Witch of Marvel,
like side by side?
Yeah, I mean, like he snaps back.
Well,
no merged universe or multiverse.
Well, if you do that, then you have to bring in, and I think that's the big discussion. Galactus has to be the next big bad.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. I think that's what they've been working up to have Galactus.
I mean, that last Galactus was a joke. It was just a
cloud.
Just a cloud.
Yes.
Cloud with some thunder.
Yeah.
Though I don't want Galactus introduced right away.
No.
But at least a little like hint to it would be.
It's like we gotta let Thanos like be the big bad for a while before we're introduced to the next big bad.
That's true. You gotta build it up. You gotta build it up.
What about this? Like by the end of it, you see like Silver Surfer. But
pop that's still a hint of
just at least a hint. Like
I don't think we should hint anything. We should let Thanos be the big bad that's been defeated.
And
if anything we introduce, it should be like an X-Men character or a Fantastic Four character.
Yeah.
Like the if like the Fantastic Four crash lands.
Well, but here's the thing though, and if anyone wants to go back and read the comic Marvels, go read that, and I feel like that's what Kevin Feige is using as a foundation of what we're going to be doing in the MCU, because it introduces the mutants at the very end of the story, and it does it in a way that creates that centralized hatred against mutants on a realistic foundation. So I think go read Marvels. I think that's what it was called. It's a beautifully illustrated book.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Well, we are really nerdy today.
Well, we have a lot to talk about.
WonderCon.
It's always a good thing.
That's true. So let's go ahead and go to our first movie review.
Movie menu.
So the first film we are reviewing is Dumbo, directed by Tim Burton, written by Harold Pearl, Helen Aberson, and Ian Kruger. Here's the plot. A young elephant whose oversized ears enable him to fly helps save a struggling circus. But when the circus plans a new venture, Dumbo and his friends discover dark secrets beneath its shiny veneer. It stars Colin Farrell, Ed Osmond, Nico Parker, Finley Hobbins, Danny DeVito, Eva Green, and Michael Keaton. All right, guys, so we have all seen this film. So depending on our spoiler-free review, we shall decide if this movie is worth it dining and watching in theaters, take out, wait and watch it at home, or leftovers, use the feather and fly away to nowhere because you're going to crash and fall because you can't fly, people.
Yes.
Manny, if you win, you have the possibility of winning a point. You can get a point. If you get up to 10 points, you can cash them in and do a segment, whatever you want, movie related. And you could literally just do a segment about awkward silence if you want, or just be awkward silence the whole time.
That's the best promotion right there.
It's just 10 minutes of Manny staring in the screen.
Right. or it can be signing, but it's going to be in podcast form, so no one hears anything.
Yeah. So on that note, let's
now I know what Thanos feels like. You collect all the points.
You must.
I'll definitely say dine in for Dumbo.
Okay.
Mike?
I'm going to say takeout for Dumbo.
Z?
It's going to be a takeout for me.
I'm going to say I'll go with dine in as well.
Okay, so 2 takeouts, 2 dine-ins. The takeouts win it.
No, I'm not going to leave. I'm not going to leave Manny on it.
Okay, fine.
I did it. Okay, so the funny thing about this film that I did enjoy, and it's weird that I enjoyed this aspect of it, is that I knew it was directed by Tim Burton, and I was a little worried about that because his last films have not been that good.
That's fair, but we know his visual. We know,
but this does not really have a visual style of Tim Burton.
He also did Big Eyes. We forget that he did Big Eyes, and that was actually pretty good. Let's not forget that. That was actually an enjoyable movie.
Yes.
It was.
I like your doubt with that. Dan.
Yeah. I think my biggest issue with this movie comes from its writer, not from the source, mind you. That's the one that Disney took, but from the writer of this movie. And the writer is, let me get this right. It's Aaron Kroger, who wrote Ghost in the Shell and all the Transformers movies. And I think that right there should give you enough of an inkling as
there's 3 writers.
Oh, there are, but the 2 other writers are the illustrator and the author of Dumbo itself. So actually, yeah, Aaron was the guy who wrote this. And because of that, I think that for me, the story is incredibly weak. I never felt connected to any of the characters. I don't really remember their names, and a lot of it for me was there was no heart in a Dumbo movie, and that makes me sad.
I disagree that there was no heart. There was definitely heart with Dumbo and the mom.
There was emotion, there was feeling, but there was no heart.
And the thing is, yes, there were human characters in there, but the whole reason why we went to go see it is for Dumbo itself.
Did you get Dumbo?
Yes, I feel we did. We get Dumbo. We got Dumbo very well in this film, and we got the connections with the mother. When I think we even got more with the mother in this film than we did in the animated
yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. Which I really enjoyed that aspect, and I really liked the animation of Dumbo. I liked how he looked. I liked when he was in the clown makeup, and I thought they did Dumbo's look and when he flew justice.
Yes, I agree.
That looked really cool.
I think CGI-wise, I think Disney, as we know, is in a powerhouse Thanos position where they know what they're doing.
Snap away everywhere
They
else.
know what they're doing. That's not, for me, the issue. The issue was just simply that they tried to like really gear in this side story that honestly, I didn't like Colin Farrell at all. I liked his acting. I just didn't like his character. And because the movie was centralized on his character, I couldn't get into it. I
don't think it was centralized, but he was like, I would say more of a subplot than anything. But I could see where they were trying to showcase like a man out of his element trying to raise their kids because they needed that relationship there as well.
But then it becomes different things, and I think that's for me the biggest issue is that the story becomes about a man who comes back from World War I.
Yeah, World
War I, missing an arm, and so he comes back into a career of being a circus performer, but he can't because he can't ride horses anymore, and because of that reason, he's put into a different position, and that's where he has to raise 2 kids, and he doesn't understand. But then the movie shifts on its axis with Dumbo. And then it becomes that story of like, hey, you've got a handicap, but you can make it your own. And that's, I think, for me, I was like, oh, okay, the story's going to be about that. But then it introduces a Walt Disney character, and then it becomes about that. And then at the end, I was just stopped caring.
So when you say Walt Disney character, you're talking about Michael Keaton?
Yes, Michael Keaton's character. Okay. Which, let's face it, he builds Disneyland. That's
Dreamland.
Yeah, that was wearing it on. It was Futureland basically, right? Like it was a lot of that.
It was kind of a mix of that. It was like like Futureland and Adventureland.
But I think because of that reason, it just felt like there was too many pivots. It felt cluttered. It felt messy. It felt like somebody was trying to jam a lot of different stories in there, and I didn't have enough time to care about the central character, about the 2 little kids who were coming off of losing their mother, having a father come back. It became a story about the circus being taken over by Walt Disney, and then have a little bit of the greatest show on earth. Like I was like, what are you trying to do here, Tim Burton? Are you trying to give me a story that makes sense, or are you just trying to jam everything in? That's what I mean. Do you guys not believe that? Like, did you not feel like there was a sort of greatest showman on earth element to it on top of all these mixed elements?
No, not really.
No,
because I mean, I really, really enjoyed The Greatest Showman. Actually,
I did too. I liked it,
but I feel like in this film, there was a lot of now this isn't like a super dine and love it. This is like it was. I felt like they accomplished their goal. That's what they were trying to achieve, and that was showcasing Dumbo. Yes, showcasing in the sense that they got the story. I felt well done, even though he's not the central focus in the film of his own movie, because he probably is on screen like a lot less than the kids and Colin Farrell. But the shots when they do show Dumbo, I felt like they did it justice.
So for you, it's more of like the spectacle. It's not about the story. You're just going to see an elephant fly.
Right.
Okay, that's fair.
Follow the elephant story.
Yeah.
And I felt like they did a really good job. I really liked Dumbo's arc. It did get a little messy at the end when it turned out that Dumbo was the greatest detective on earth.
Right. His nose knows.
Yeah. But overall, I liked the style of the film. I really did enjoy it.
I also felt like it was missing some of the Tim Burton charm.
Well, I mean, I know, like, at least the first act, it didn't feel like a Tim Burton movie.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I was enjoying it. I was, like, digging the nostalgia and, like, the little Easter eggs from the Dumbo. And just, like, they're trying to give you the feel of the circus. But, like, honestly say, the first act, I'm like, I know Tim Burton directed this, or did he just produce it?
That's what I mean, right? Like, it didn't feel like a Tim Burton film.
But then when it got into the second act, when they went to, Dreamland, then you started seeing all the elements, the stripes, and the Tim Burton trademarks and whatnot.
Eva.
I was going to say, Eva Green.
Eva Green shows up, and I was like, oh, this is a Tim Burton film. Yeah.
I love Eva Green. I think she is amazing, and I thought she was a really standout in this film.
Yeah, she has that gothic look that he enjoys in movies, and you know what? Hey, you know what? I prefer her. For the most part, over Helena Bonham Carter, his wife, who he puts in every movie.
Ex-wife.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like in 2014.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. And there's also no Johnny Depp, so I was like, Colin Farrell is the new Johnny Depp. Okay.
I think he's the new George W. Bush because that was his impression.
That was his impression, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was.
Mission accomplished.
I couldn't. That's just what I kept thinking throughout the whole film. Is
really?
That he was doing a George W. Bush impression.
Did he do that?
He should have.
He should have. Yeah, but it just, for me, you're right. It does get into like but at the same time, it's like there are some characters in this movie that are just comically bad. Like there's the guy who is like the abuser that gets, I don't want to spoil anything. I'm not going to spoil anything. But
the trainer.
The first trainer, the first baddie in the story, that was comedically like...
It was a caricature for sure.
It was a caricature.
Well, it's based on a cartoon, so I mean, they're trying to try to find that balance between the two.
Yeah, I agree with you that was like one of the main weaknesses of the film was that they didn't spend enough development in the characters. But, I also agree with Dan that they, their main focus was Dumbo and they did develop that. But I think everything else should have been as well developed around it, and there's some characters that didn't even need to exist, like the little boy.
The little boy was completely added.
Okay, so it's not the only one who felt that, right?
No.
And that's always one of my biggest pet peeves is when they do it like I'm not
Finley Hobbins.
I'm not going to mention Interstellar, but Interstellar had the son that didn't need to be in that film either.
I disagree,
and that's a pet peeve.
Yeah, and it has nothing to do with like the skill of the.
Oh no, the actor was really well done. Yeah,
but it's not enough use for him.
Yeah, but I think it was the writing.
He was a prop.
Yeah, he was a prop. Exactly.
That's a good way of defining it. It just was like you could have had the little girl played Millie's character played by Nico Parker, who is the daughter of a famous actress who I love from Westworld. So she does a fantastic job of really characterizing and personifying what Dumbo is struggling through. But because you have the son in this, you have the Millie character, the Joe character in there. Yeah. It just feels, you could have gotten rid of that character entirely, the boy, and you would have made a much more streamlined story, a story of of a daughter who just lost her mom. And that would have been really cool.
Now, they tried to fill the film a lot because the original Dumbo film is only an hour and 4 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they added this film is an hour and 12 minutes. So they added like an extra.
An hour or 2 hours? Sorry, you're.
Sorry, 2 hours. It's 112 minutes.
Yes.
So it's almost 2 hours.
Right.
The first
That's over an hour and a half. Yeah.
The first film is an hour 4 minutes.
Okay.
So it's only 64
that's
minutes.
You put Dreamland into that.
Yeah, that whole integration would make sense. But like even at that, like you could have done a whole lot more. There's also like these weird sideline characters that just show up out of nowhere. For me, the one that really kind of like really was like, what is Alan Arkin doing in this movie? He shows up and he acts Alan Arkin.
He's a banker, but yeah, he was not. He didn't even act like. Well, I guess he did.
He acted like Alan Arkin.
I was gonna give him like the benefit of the doubt. Well, not even benefit. He acted worse than Alan Arkin, I thought. But
he was doing an Alan Arkin impression.
But it almost felt like a weird sort of integration of Mr. Banks in there. It was like, okay, so now we're integrating some Mary Poppins storyline into the bad guy storyline. I don't care enough about Michael Keaton's character to care enough about whether or not he's going to keep his business. And it's you know what I mean? Like it just was like that's an added element of a complexity that I didn't really need in his character. I needed to understand why he was greedy, not he's greedy because of a banker. Like that just was confusing to me.
Yeah, and I think my favorite character in all of this is actually not Dumbo, but it's Danny DeVito.
Oh my
So-
gosh, he
right,
was awesome.
Danny
I'm
DeVito
not
was-
surprised
so-
of it.
So, and I was like super excited in the beginning because it said the Medici. I'm sorry,
Medici?
Medici.
It said the Medici brothers. and
You
it-
were thinking it was going to be Arnold.
No. No, that would have been. I would have enjoyed that as well. But
I would have
Oh.
too.
but in the beginning, how they're showing like little snippets of the circus.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So so it starts with a snippet of Danny DeVito, like presenting, and then it shows another snippet of Danny DeVito with a mustache.
Yeah.
So I was like, are we gonna get two Danny DeVitos?
That would have been awesome.
I was,
that
I
would've
was
been
like,
great.
I was like, that would have been that's gonna be amazing.
Big
like
fish on another level.
Yeah, that's twin Danny DeVitos as like twin like
I would have
circus
preferred
brothers.
Arnold.
That like I would have been all in like.
Yeah.
So you were
within the first-
disappointed?
I was disappointed when it was just one Danny DeVito.
Okay.
And it went downhill from there.
Now here's the thing. I'm gonna bring in my mom's review
Oh wow.
because I did take her to watch this movie.
I took my mom as well.
Okay, and I'm guessing your mom loved this movie.
She didn't love it, but she really enjoyed it.
My mom loved this movie,
Was
and
it-
she walked out of it super happy, super thrilled to see Dumbo fly, as you were saying. So I think that there's an audience for this film.
Mom movie?
It's definitely
It
a
is
mom movie. Some of
It
the
is.
kids who were in the theater were crying, so clearly not a kid movie for me, anyways. It seemed like
There were people saying that this is not a kids film.
I think it's a nostalgia film.
it's a nostalgia film.
It's nostalgia.
Yeah.
film. I mean, like I'm
Yeah.
watching it, and then I start feeling like a kid again because I remember seeing the original Dumbo.
Sure.
And the same thing, you see him flying, you see all the like I said, like the Easter eggs from the original one.
Yeah.
And then there's one. It seems very random, but for me, it was like a nice little nostalgia hit. Is that one scene? Not giving anything away when you see Michael Keaton and Danny DeVito having a talk, and they're
Absolutely.
walking out on the
Yeah.
field, and all I can sit there thinking, wow.
It's Batman and
Penguin.
And
It's
Penguin,
Batman
yeah.
and Penguin.
Wow.
This is
I
so
didn't-
awesome.
I didn't think
Yeah.
about that. That's a good point.
Just having a chat.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm just
I agree.
waiting. I was waiting for like Michelle Pfeiffer to just like drive in.
it was Michelle Pfeiffer, played by Eva
Evergreen.
Green. There you go.
yeah.
All right.
Maybe the new Catwoman. Who knows?
There's nobody knows what's happening with DC right now, so let's not even go into that speculation.
Maybe Thanos can snap and she ends up in Marvel.
That would be fun.
On that note,
Yes.
so we'll go ahead and any final thoughts?
I think that this is a movie that, as Dan would say, is a spectacle. I agree with you on that. If you want it for the spectacle, this is a good theater. This is a good escape from the heat. But it's not, for me, what I wanted in a Dumbo movie. I don't think I actually wanted a Dumbo movie, but that's because it didn't really kind of charm me in the way that the original did. Also, just as a side note, pink elephants scared the shit out of me as a kid, and this did not scare the shit out of me. So
that was great though.
yeah, no, it was a good, as you say, a good homage to the original.
nostalgia.
But I honestly wanted to be scared. I really wanted.
I know that's right. There's people that were saying like, "Oh, this is not kids film," but the first one was scary as hell.
Oh no, the
A lot of
first one
Disney
was a
movies are.
horror movie. Are you
Yeah.
kidding me? That was like my first horror movie. I had nightmares of
They have
pink
the
elephants.
hallucinations, pink ele- yeah.
Yeah.
Pinocchio was not a kids movie, man.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
That whole island of like misfit children, like that was super creepy.
Yes, it
Sorry,
was.
that's a side tangent. But
So, Manny?
No, I mean I enjoyed it. I think if anything, if you want to go for the nostalgia, you want to go for the sake of watching, and then you got a little bit of Tim Burton flavor in it. I enjoyed it. I'm not saying that like this was like the greatest Disney, quote unquote live action remake. It would have been cool if they had gotten like a real elephant and trained him to fly, but what are you gonna do? CGI?
well, yeah, and it's
Yeah.
it's illegal now.
Yes, yes.
Oh well, yeah, I mean that too.
Yeah.
Train
but-
a real elephant to fly.
Hey,
Throw it
hey, I'm
off
just saying
of a burning building.
it worked in Dumbo.
Dan,
Mike?
It's fun.
Yeah, I think it sounds like as Manny had mentioned, nostalgic, and as you guys have said, it sounds like it would be a good mom movie. Other than that, I think you can just watch it at home.
And I think, you know what, give it a chance. I think it's better than what people are saying. Because that's what I went in thinking, like, oh man, this movie's going to be the shit. In the men's deck, it's going to be horrible. And I walked out thinking, actually, I enjoyed this film. It was a lot better than I expected. So sometimes it pays to go in with low expectations. But on that note, let's go ahead and go on to the next movie review.
Movie menu.
So we have not all seen this film. So let me go and introduce that film for us. We will be reviewing Us. Since we unfortunately did not review it last week, we shall go ahead and do it this week. Written and directed by Jordan Peele. Here's the plot. A family's serenity turns to chaos when a group of doppelgangers begins to terrorize them. Starring Lupita Nyong'o, Winston Duke, Shahadi Wright Joseph, and Evan Alex. All right, guys. Manny, you did not see this film.
No, I did not.
So you would decide this movie is worth a dine and watch it in theaters, take it away and watch it at home, or leftovers. Tether yourselves to us and kill us all for making you watch this film or not.
That's good.
Nice.
Depending on, you automatically get a point for hosting. So there's that.
And so it begins.
We haven't defined who won Dumbo, but let's just give you the point anyways.
And it continues.
It continues to build.
So
yes. The awkward universe is almost complete.
Yes.
Don't snap your fingers, Manny.
Or do.
I just disappeared.
Mike, oh my God.
Yes, finally. We shot at Avenge. No, we won't.
We will not forget. Yeah, we will. He forgets us all the time.
That is true.
Wow.
Yes.
All right, on that note, guys, rate this film. Mike?
Dine-in.
Z?
Oh, hardcore dine-in.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And Dan?
I'm going to go take out.
Interesting.
Wow.
You went
2-1.
You went Dumbo dine-in. And you're going takeout for us?
I'm kidding.
Dumbo's Revenge.
What is wrong with you, man?
I'm kidding. It's a dine-in for us.
Okay, don't do that because that someone's going to record that. We just did where you said that. That's ridiculous.
So what? It's not that big of a deal.
It is a giant big of a deal. This movie is
deal.
such a dine-in. Now, here's the thing. I watched it. And I remember sitting with it. I was like, I don't know whether or not I liked it or I loved it. In a huge way, I walked out of it confused. And I was really kind of like, oh, what was about this movie that I really didn't like? And for me, part of it was how subtle it was. So it took a while for it to really hit on me because I was like looking up like weird theories online. Why did they call the movie Us? This is weird. There's a moment in the movie where the character Lupita Nyong'o's doppelganger, when they ask her, "Who are you?" they respond with, "We are Americans," and that confused the shit out of me. And I was like, "What is this movie trying to say?" And ultimately, I landed on, "Holy crap! Jordan Peele's a genius. He named the movie Us." But
U.S.
It's U.S. And I think that's what cracked me. Where I really was like, this is a brilliant discussion on, what it is to be American now versus what it was to be American in the 70s. And I thought that was just a brilliant way of talking about it. So yes, this movie's a horror movie, or rather, it's a suspense movie. It's a suspense horror movie that tends
incredibly original, incredibly thought provoking.
Yeah, there's enough comedy in there to keep you through the lulls, which is awesome. But ultimately, this movie, in the same way that Get Out, as it's right behind me, was absolutely brilliant. This movie has that additional layer of context that you bring in and you make your own. So this movie is amazing.
But the thing, like you mentioned, it's very subtle. So what I've heard about this film is how people are hating it because they don't understand it.
Yeah.
It's like, but you need to just do the research or really let it sit in or watch it again.
One would even argue this is like Captain Marvel.
Wow, here we go.
To watch. A two-watch
film
to enjoy.
Yeah, Mike.
What do you think about that, Mike?
Okay. No, I think.
Don't do it, Mike. No.
So where do you guys think the disconnect is? Where you think people
aren't tethering them?
Like,
I'm just kidding.
or where you feel people miss the point of the film?
I think they are really focused on the fact that Jordan Peele really announced that it's a horror film.
I think that's what it is.
That people, and the thing is, it is a horror film because it is a reflection on what society is. This is our reflection, and that is the horror within itself. But people are thinking like scares and like
is it more of like a psychological thriller?
But I think that's there too. Actually, I think I would say that Us is more gory than Get Out. Yeah. Like there's actually more. Like there's more gore and there's actually more scares in Us than Get Out.
It's not psychological horror like Get Out was. Mm-hmm. This is more of like suspenseful. There are beings trying to break into your house, and what do you do when they're not just in your house? They're chasing after you.
I think it's definitely bigger. It's bigger than Get Out.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Again, guys, spoiler free.
Yeah.
No,
But I think I feel like there were a little bit of like misses for me in terms of like story. One there's a constant awesome creepiness between the Lupita Nyong'os, both of them, like as they're communicating with each other.
Adelaide and Red.
But I feel like where the film kind of misses is it tries to give exposition twice, and I feel like it's not needed.
Yeah.
And there without giving spoilers away, like the repetition of that means that there's this assumption that it was too subtle for the audience,
which I do feel like there was, and that's for me part of where I also, I mean, there were several things about this movie that I did find as missteps. That was definitely one of them.
Yeah.
But I think ultimately where I think a lot of audiences were lost was that moment of like, then that's why I talked about this, which was a question, who are you? And they respond with, we are Americans. That is such a weird comment to hear from a home invasion scenario, and I think because of that, a lot of people were, and including myself, were driven kind of like, wait, what? What is that supposed to mean? But because of its subtlety, it really does require you to forget that quote and just enjoy the ride. And I think that's where some audiences couldn't do it. Some audiences were like, this movie has to explain to me what's happening, but because it just threw this weird line at us, you have to choose to forget that line to enjoy the rest of the film.
So you're saying maybe more people expected to be like spoon-fed through this type
of
movie?
I would argue that in fact that he wrote a Christopher Nolan story, but people were confused. I think the producers might have been confused, and he had to make it a little bit easier for people to understand.
So he had to kind of water it down a little.
A little bit, yeah.
I think I agree that this film is like a multi-layer film, but I think the surface the surface layer of this film should have worked out its kinks. So like in the same way, like I think of a film like Fight Club where some people can enjoy it for like people beating each other up. Of course, they'll enjoy it and they'll appreciate it, but they'll miss the point of what Fight Club was about.
Exactly.
And I think
Mike, we don't talk about Fight Club.
Oh, sorry, I broke rule 1. But I think with Us, I think at that surface level, I think there were still things that needed to be worked out. So continuing my point from before, I think in repeating like the exposition, like what seems like it's like, do you get it now, turns into like a misstep in the writing where it's like they're trying to fill space that wasn't there.
Well, were you surprised by the end?
No.
I was not surprised by the end.
Yeah. I'm not gonna spoil it.
That's all. That's all I wanted to add.
No. And I honestly, again, for me, I think that's what Mike is talking about. But I didn't need that. You're right. But I also just thoroughly enjoyed that.
So the one thing that I was bothered by in the film though was that they established the tethering, which is all I'll say about that. But they don't follow through with it.
I agree with you. So
I disagree. I think they do actually follow through with
because they set the rules for that with the sun so much, but they don't do it with the rest of the world.
They break the rules, right?
Yeah.
Then, which
is fine if they break the rules, but establish them first to break them, and then acknowledge that they're being broken.
Yeah. So there's. I feel like that. Like as creepy as it is, it makes me feel like the world isn't completely developed yet. Like I think all the points were there, but it's missing that. Like,
but see,
where was it broken, and when was that happen? Like why was the Suns able to keep that connection?
So and it's hard to say because the more
that goes into spoiler territory. So I'll skip over that and say I think the other portion where a lot of audiences kind of fell, where they felt really kind of like disappointed, I would say, in this movie was its humor. There's a lot of humor in this movie. There are moments of humor weird. That for me worked. I thought really,
the humor was really well done.
No, I do too. But I think because some audiences when they see the word horror, they expect chills, and you forget that horror has this really good symbiosis with comedy, and this movie does a really good job of doing that, where there are moments of huge suspense followed by moments of comedy. And I think I was probably
similar to like Get Out, like how they try to use comedy.
Yeah, I was laughing so hard in my theater. People were looking at me, and I was like, "Don't you understand what's happening? Do you?" oh, you don't understand what horror is. So I feel like there was a little bit of that happening where people were just expecting this straight up jump scare. Hey, Mike. Boo. See, they were expecting that, but they got something that was way more developed and actually quite enjoyable. So I think go in with the mindset of this is a horror comedy, but it focuses more on suspense horror, less than spooky horror.
I think we have to also mention that Tim Heidecker is in this from Tim and Eric.
Oh, yeah.
So Tim and Eric awesome show, great job, which I think he does a great job.
Oh, I don't know what
he
that
did.
show is, but okay.
Do you think
It's a Adult Swim.
Yeah,
Okay.
Adult Swim show. So yeah, Tim is one half of Tim and Eric. So
No, Dodoy. Yes. Thank you.
They're which I mean
They're tethers of each other.
But I think he's utilized in this film, and I thought he did a great job.
His family symbolizes America really well, especially white America.
Yeah,
It does a really good job of that. Yeah.
Let me ask this: do you think that people, you were saying they felt, probably deceived because of the comedy elements in it? Do you think a lot of it had to do with the trailer that was produced for?
Yeah, I think the trailer gives away way too much. I think the trailer doesn't do a good job of representing what the actual movie is, and I think that has nothing to do with Jordan Peele's film. I think that has to do more with
the trailer house.
I think
with marketing.
I think it's. I don't. I think it is like a high concept film.
It is
so
a high concept,
so, and I think that and I get it that like as artists, like people can say like you were missing the point. That's why you didn't like it. But I think like. But I think it's the artist's job to make the people understand it, like to communicate it. So I think something is missed in the telling of the story. Like, it is a wacky, like crazy story, but I think it need to be executed in a way where you don't need to understand it to appreciate it.
So this wasn't your Hereditary?
This was
Oh,
not,
come
this,
on.
This wasn't my Hereditary. I agree.
Was it as good as It Follows?
So like I think that is kind of like an elitist like perception to view it like you didn't like us because you just didn't get it.
Oh no.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm just pointing out like the tropes that you could fall into.
What I'm saying is just like Captain Marvel. If you didn't understand us, watch it a second time.
I think people shouldn't feel guilty if they didn't enjoy it. They
totally.
just didn't enjoy it. But I think that I can understand how it could not be enjoyed because there were some like things basic, as Dan had mentioned earlier, like the world isn't completely developed. Like there's rules that are established and then broken. And I think that's like an issue with the script. Despite those problems, I still really enjoyed the film.
Well, see, but here's the thing, and I agree with Dan and you about the breaking of the rules, but I didn't care about the rules because I was enjoying.
Because you're a rebel.
Because I was enjoying. Because I was enjoying the world. I was really enjoying it. I was just really into it.
What that shows is like it's just. And it's not that he's this, but it just like shows like a little bit of lazy writing. Like
no, I think it was a rush job. I think he really rushed to make this movie. I think he needs to take his time. I think he's a genius writer. I think he knows exactly what
he is. And I'm not saying that
so.
he's a lazy writer, but just not to indicate that or showcase that is a little bit like unfortunate.
Yeah, I think he needed to be giving a little more space.
That creates plot holes, and that creates people who are like, "Oh, look at this plot hole."
But see, here's the
Mike.
Yeah. But here's the other part.
We still said dine in though, right?
Okay. Yeah, but here's the other thing though, is that if a movie is enjoyable, and I think we all agree with this, especially if you've watched any of the Marvel films, if a movie is enjoyable enough to make you forget the plot holes, up until after finishing watching the movie do you start thinking about the plot holes.
Of course.
That movie has done its job. That movie has taken you through a journey, and you have,
I was thinking about it when I was watching it, but it's okay.
I don't think you were. I think
I was.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, I was as well.
All right. Well, to be fair, we're also kind of like prone to know more about this field, and
that doesn't mean either of us are right or wrong. It's just how we each.
How we watched it.
But
I love the family, and I love I think Lupita Nyong'o's performance and Winston Duke's performance.
I
was
think
amazing.
Winston Duke.
I thought the family
fabulous.
was great.
Yeah,
I even liked Elizabeth Moss.
I mean, they do so well that it was easy for me to separate their evil versions of themselves. Like
you knew exactly who was which one.
Like I didn't even see them as like the same actor, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Winston
That's
Dukes,
how well they
and
did.
there were points where I was like, is that even like, is that Lupita? Is that Winston?
Like
did
it's
they
like,
get another actor?
they did a great job.
No, I agree with you because I think Winston Dukes, his other version, Abraham, had a longer beard, but that was the only distinct factor that I can look for. But you're right. Like I feel like, and it was just such a great Lupita Nyong'o's all of it. She was fantastic. I think every bit of her acting abilities was thrown into this movie, and it just makes me that much more sad that she doesn't get more movies. Because I walked out of this movie walking away going like, holy shit. I always knew Lupita Nyong'o was really good, but I didn't know she was this versatile in her ability to act because she's playing two roles in one movie, and that's
completely
amazing.
different.
Yeah, and in the beginning, like I didn't enjoy like Lupita Nyong'o's acting until like the plot gets revealed.
Yes,
and then it's like, it
was subtle enough.
But it shows how well her acting is. It's like it just feels like she's off, and it's like but to me in the beginning I took it as like an acting issue, but then as things unfold it's like no, she's actually like very, very on. It was like wow, okay.
It was a well-crafted role.
Yeah.
My issue though is that Winston Duke's accent I was kind of a little thrown off.
What kind of accent was he?
It was an American.
It was American, but I could. It was a weirdly
and I think
like
he's British or
no, he's from Trinidad.
Okay,
but he definitely has an accent, and you can actually hear a little bit of it. So I don't know if that was intentional or it was throughout the entire movie. So I'm assuming it is an intentional accent. But honestly, I wanted him to be my dad, so he did a great job regardless. Like he did a fantastic job. The kids in this movie, unlike the ones in Dumbo, really kind of sparked an interest in me. I cared about them. I knew they were, I knew what was going to happen with their characters, but I really thoroughly wanted to make sure that they were okay.
Well, I was interested in the son because she really favored the son a lot in the film.
This is going to spoiler territory, so I don't want to talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But anyways, this movie. Yes, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like it almost plays like a zombie film to me.
It does. I would say that's probably or like a sort of like a alien invasion.
Yeah, because it isn't necessarily like it
because they're doppelgangers, right? It's like a sort of
like a invasion of the body snatchers.
It's something similar to that. Yeah.
It's definitely like beyond home invasion. It's like I would agree with that. Like invasion of the body snatchers, or these definitely aren't like normal. They're not normal doppelgangers.
No, like there are normal ones. Thanks, Mike.
but if it feels and without giving too much away, it feels more like a zombie film to me.
I agree,
and I enjoyed that part of
especially
it,
especially their speech patterns, right?
Yeah.
Their speech pattern was really kind of like zombie-esque.
Yeah. Which I know we can't go too much into. It'll be spoilers, but I agree.
I think probably an important question to ask is, have you ever met your own doppelganger?
Only in the past.
Not yet.
What would you ask your doppelganger, man?
Oh my god.
Jeez, what would I ask?
Did you ever see that VHS doppelganger?
What would you ask?
That's what you would ask?
Yeah, I would ask that.
I would ask
like,
him,
oh my god, I did.
There's this crazy horror film. It's like, I know VHS is hit and miss. The
it is a
series,
hit and miss.
But there's this short that's crazy.
You know what I would ask my doppelganger?
What would you ask?
Did you like Us? And if he answers no, I will kill him right there and then.
No, he would answer.
I will kill him there and then.
So real quick, because I think it's like super entertaining. So the short is of a guy that opens up a portal.
Cool.
And in his basement, and when the portal opens, he sees himself in another dimension also opening up a portal, and they're both like equally interested in like finding out about each other's
So this
world.
is not VHS 1.
No, it's not. And then they
actually Rick and Morty.
They actually exchange worlds, and they're both exploring like each other's dimension, and they both promise each other that they'll return to their own dimensions by a specific amount of time. But like it starts to reveal like the horrors of that exist in any other dimension as far as like what these people are.
There's a TV show called
short.
Counterpart right now that has oh shoot, I forgot his name, but it's got a really good actor in it, with which that there's like a cross-dimensional platform. So it's similar to that too.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Anyways,
okay, any final thoughts?
No, go watch Us. It's brilliant.
Go watch Us. No, Us. Go watch Us in moviemenupodcast.com. Go watch the movie Us.
Yes, watch Us.
Manny, what do you rate it?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to see it. I know my girlfriend was like hitting me up about watching it, so.
You watch it today?
Yeah, I'm probably going to go ask her. Hey, you want to go tonight?
You really should go watch.
Yeah, I do want to see it.
Just go by yourself. Do it by yourself.
No, I can't. She'll kill me if I go by myself.
Okay, never mind.
She'll murder you like a doppelganger.
Oh, yeah. Machete and everything.
Okay, so what do you rate it, Manny? What's this from us talking? What would you give it a rating? Dine in?
I think Dine In sounds safe enough to say.
You.
All right,
yes.
so we say go watch Us and go watch Dumbo.
But if you can, just watch it, Dumbo, in a sort of $5
quiet hush
scenario. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Manny, for being on the show.
Thank you,
that'll
Manny.
that'll do it for us here at Movie Menu Podcast. Manny, would you like to plug anything?
Yeah.
You recently got into a film festival.
Yeah. We got into the Hong Kong International Deaf Film Festival.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mr.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be, the festival takes place May 3rd to the 5th. We're actually going to be, if you're in Hong Kong, I'm going to be in Hong Kong. I'm going. Yeah, but if you're there by the chance, it's going to be taking place at the Hong Kong Arts Center on May 4th at 7:30. That's you're telling me, man. I never thought. I always wanted to go to Hong Kong, but I never thought I'd actually have the opportunity to. And I'm taking complete advantage of this. Go in there, sightseeing, typical tourist stuff, and just eating as much night market food as I can.
Nice.
Going international.
Yes.
Very cool. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead and plug. Where can they find your info?
Yeah, if you want to learn more about the movie's called Awkward Silence. As I've been promoting, I don't know how many episodes now here on the show.
Forever. Keep on doing it.
Oh, man. Thank you. But if you want to learn more about it, you can go to our website, awkwardsilencemovie.com. We also have, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. Look us up there. That's where we're going to be posting, all the updates behind the scenes, as well as other festivals we're getting to. And believe me, we're going to be covering the Hong Kong Festival as much as we can. Pictures and videos and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, so follow them to stay up to date.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Again, congratulations, Z.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for being here as well. Thank you, Mike. No congratulations to you.
Thank you,
No
Dan.
congratulations to you for being alive this long.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for congratulating me.
And I'm Dan the Man Muñoz, host. And we say thank you so much for watching us live on Facebook, or if you're listening to us on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, or Stitcher, or SoundCloud, or wherever you listen to podcasts. We appreciate it. Thank you so much. Make sure to follow us on moviemenupodcast.com, and you can go ahead and check us out there and listen to all our past episodes and interviews. Go back to our interviews with Manny. We interviewed him regarding Culture, one of his first movies we did. Check us out there. And until next time, goodbye.